Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to another video. Now this video has actually been requested by a lot of people and it's the most modifiable JDM cars. So I'm going to be going through JDM cars and yeah, just the most modifiable. Hopefully you enjoy the video. Now the ZR380 in 10th place. Now I bet you wasn't expecting that. I bet you were expecting it to be 10th. You know, you're probably expecting the top 3. But no, actually the ZR380 only comes with 75 modifications. And that is a lot of modifications, but compared to the amount of JDM cars we have on this list that have way more than that, this is the least modifiable car on this list. Now that's even including all the spikes, all the weapons. This thing has, you know, stuff that you wouldn't normally put on if you want to make this car a street build, like you want to go to car meets with it. But still, it's in 10th place with 75 modifications. And it actually is one of the most expensive at 2.1 million. And just to take the ramp off the front, it's 50k. So once you start modifying this can become one of the most expensive cars in the game. But you know, until Rockstar actually make a non-armored version of this car, I don't care if the non-armored version costs 2 million. You know, the inflation's like 100% every year with Rockstar. Now the Jester Classic in 9th place. You probably were expecting this one on the list, but it is quite low down. It costs 790,000 and the car has 77 modifications. Now, still very good for an LSC car. You know, to think that in 10th place was an arena war vehicle, that is pretty cool. Now, I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain anything about the Jester Classic. We've all probably had it. In fact, if you've never owned the Jester Classic, please comment in the comment section. I want to see, because I'm pretty sure 90% of, you know, people who watch my videos, or 99% I'd even say, have owned this car or still have this car. And to be honest, the modifications are the strong point of the Jester Classic. Really, the handling, not the best in this car. You know, to replicate it like real life, all these modifications do replicate this car to a real life version, but the handling does not. Now in 8th place, the Sylvestre with 92 modifications. Now the Sylvestre is really cool in my opinion. You can put modifications that are actually from the era which the car was in, you know, which was the 70s, mid 70s. This is actually, if you didn't know, this was based off the RX3. Don't worry, I didn't even know that at all when it first came out. The cool thing about this car is you can end up making it look like the classic Skylines, and that's what's so cool. You can make it look like classic Skylines, you can make it look like the wide body kind of boxy build, which was the way race cars used to be. And the sound on this car, if we put aside the modifications for a bit, the sound on this car when you start it up, it's so unique with that rotary kind of sound. No other car sounds as tinny and weird as this car does on start up in GTA. Now the Sugoi. Now it's really cool to actually see a modern car on this list. You know, even though I do prefer the classic cars, it's nice to see that they actually have modern JDM type of cars on this list. But the Sugoi does cost 1.2 million. It's a bit of a stretch, you know, for a new Honda Civic. I think we can all agree on that. In this video, I actually went with the Type R build. I added little red accents to make it look like that. With the liveries, you still have Japanese themed liveries, but you have modern day Japanese. I don't know how GTA do it, but you can clearly see that these liveries are more modern. And you know, you can make it look like a Civic, or you can make it look like a Type R. You can really go subtle and aggressive on this build. Now the Sultan Classic, just about making it in 7th place here. We've got 101 modifications, that's one more than 8th place. This car is just amazing, and this is what I like about this list as well. It has like the whole list, all these top 10 cars have like JDM cars from the late 1960s all the way to modern day. It's so diverse, this list is, and I feel like all these are legends or future legends. Now this is an expensive one, 1.7 million. You know, I feel like each person would have their own reasoning to think if it's worth it or not, but I just love the way you can make this look like, you know, an Evo 3 or a 22B. GTA know how to make that fine line between two different cars. They do it in so many cars. They do that little fine line in between two cars where you can make it look like one car and make it look more like another. The Sultan Classic is an amazing example, and this is when they started making cars available for Super Slammed. Of course, only if you're doing a stance build, you can actually make this car really low to the ground. Now in 5th place, a massive jump on the list. The last one, which is the Sultan Classic, was 101 modifications. This Penumbra FF is actually 138 modifications. Now, with the many modifications on this, not forgetting the Fast and Furious liveries that you can actually get on this, it's nice to know GTA care about putting stuff in like that. I love the modifications, I love the liveries that it has, you know, and they all are Japanese type of liveries and stuff you'd see on the car, which is the same with all of these cars. With modifications on these vehicles, I feel like with modifications on these Japanese vehicles, they actually suit the vehicle. Unlike some other modifications on other European cars in this game and stuff. Now the Kenjo. Now the Kenjo is definitely the best value for money on this list. 580,000. And with this car, you just get spoiled with options. Now you can make this like a time attack build. You can make this a crazy tuner build, a drag build. You can nearly make every single build with this car. And you can mix and match it and it won't look wrong. It won't look out of place. A lot of the options on this Kenjo are really aggressive and, you know, more time attacky and really catch you off guard when you're first modifying this car. And then you've got more of the stuff which are seen in that decade, like the sticker bomb stuff, and you got a lot of carbon fiber. I would say this is one of the cars where you've got an option for everything and everybody. No matter what type of cars you like, there's a modification on the Kenjo which you would want on your car. Now the 190Z, my favorite, comes in at 3rd place. People don't even expect this car to be up there, but that's why I think it's the most underrated on this list. 900,000, yeah, I mean, it's not crazily overpriced, but this car looks amazing. The detail in the engine bay is amazing. The exhaust placement that you can put into the certain areas, the details that you have, the flaps that come out, you know, where the exhaust would be at the side, you can actually open that flap. You can have it as an exhaust option, but if you have it as an exhaust option, then you don't get to open the flaps in the interaction menu. Honestly, this car is really cool when it comes to modifications, but I cannot forget that massive arch gap you have. You already have quite a big arch gap when this is stock, and then when you put the wide body on, then you've got a massive arch gap. It's definitely not how you want your car to look. And surprisingly, when people merge F1 wheels onto this car, it actually looks better than this car is stock. Right, I think a lot of you knew that this was going to be on the list, and it's the Sultan RS. And also at number 1 is the LG Retro. I thought I'd commentate both of these together because they are pretty much the same when it comes to modifications. The Sultan RS has 196 modifications, and the LG Retro actually has quite a big jump, which is 225 modifications. Now, when it comes to these two cars, it's really which one do you prefer, and I think a lot of people prefer the LG Retro. These two cars have endless modifications, but the interior on these cars, so I think a lot of the modifications end up being interior modifications. So if we were to actually, you know, remove the interior modifications, then the 190Z will still be superior on top of these two cars. You just have options like stripped interior and, you know, dials everywhere, different steering wheels, digital clusters and stuff like that. They both have the same very similar modifications. That's why I kind of merged the two. And yeah, I don't really want to waste any time with these because you guys already know a lot about the Sultan RS and the LG Retro. So that's it, the last two cars. I really do appreciate you guys taking the time out to watch this video. And yeah, please follow me on Instagram, linked in the description. See you guys in the next one. You can find me looking up to the sky.